And now it is my great pleasure to introduce the recipient of our Robotics Medal, an award that honors a female researcher for substantial achievements and lasting contributions to the field of robotics. This medal is generally sponsored by Amazon and comes with a $50,000 prize in recognition of extraordinary innovation and impact. And this year's Robotics Medal is presented to Professor Maja Matarić of the University of Southern California for her pioneering work in socially assistive robotics. And this is a field that Maja helped define. Now, Maja's research has shown that robots can do far more than sense, think, act. They connect, they motivate, and they care. Her work has reimagined what technology can do for people, helping stroke survivors regain movement, supporting children with autism, and enriching the lives of older adults. It's robotics with empathy at its core, and it's changed how all of us think about the role of intelligent machines. Beyond socially assistive robotics, Maja has made foundational contributions to distributed robotics, to multi-robot coordination, and learning in human-robot systems. And her ideas have shaped the very way we think about collaboration, not just between robots, but also between robots and humans, and maybe even between humans and other humans. Now, on a personal note, Maja and I grew up together in robotics. We've been friends since our graduate school days, and we met at conferences, we've had collaborations, and we've had countless late-night sessions. Now, many of our best ideas weren't born in formal meetings, but during our legendary pajama parties, where we'd stay up far too late, laughing, talking about our kids, our dreams, and the ups and downs of academic life. Over the years, our friendship has also included epic dinner parties, trips, an unforgettable murder mystery night, and the Covered Bridges Marathon. Now, before the Covered Bridges Marathon, I proudly cooked Maja 4 different kinds of pasta in order to carbo-load her. She ran the race like a champion. I, on the other hand, ran late to take photos for her finish line, and I'm still trying to make up for it. Although I'd like to think that the pasta gave her a competitive edge. So these moments really remind me that behind every research breakthrough, behind every robot we build, there are people, friendships, and shared stories that make this journey really special. So Maja is not only a brilliant scientist, but also a generous mentor and a dear friend. She leads with intellect, creativity, and warmth, inspiring generations of roboticists to push the boundaries while never losing sight of the people our technologies are meant to serve. Maja, please join us to receive your award.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
All right, let's do a photo. Hey, Ty, photo.
Well, this is what I do in the lab all the time.
All right.
The singing part.
Okay. Wait, Tanya didn't have to do this. All right, well, thank you. I'm definitely going to wear this to my department meetings. And just, if you're an academic, you know what a difference this will make. Okay, so I was about to cry, so I won't, but just I'm just so honored and so happy to be here. And Daniela, thank you so much for that amazing story, which is true. I remember it all. She's an amazing cook, by the way, and all the fun stuff that she mentioned, that all happened at her house. So thank you. I just showed up and benefited. Thank you so much. And Ty, I mean, nicest guy in tech, which may be a low bar, but Ty is an amazing guy. Sorry, folks, but I do mean it as a compliment. All right, they told me 10 minutes. I'm already into it. I'll keep it less than 10, maybe. All right. So first of all, I'm honored to be here in the company of amazing women. I know it's only the third year, but there were amazing women before me here, and there will be many, many more amazing women, because thank you for setting up this program and these awards, because it means a lot, not because of the check. We'll take the check, but I just want to say, by the way, thank you for having the checks go to the people, because right now universities are freezing funds, so it would be no good if you sent it to me over there. No offense. So people like to hear stories. I love to tell stories. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. So another thing that Daniela and I have in common is that we moved to this country when we were young. And so I moved to Wichita, Kansas in my teens. My dad was an engineer, and he unfortunately died of cancer before moving. And so my mom moved me, and was a single mom and a widow, and could not get a job because she had a PhD in literature. So that was not very bankable. And that was one of the nudges to get me to go into STEM. The other nudge is the story that I've told many times over the years, which was my uncle, who was an aerospace engineer. And he said, Maya, you must go into computers. Computers will be big. You must go. You're immigrant must have trade. He was right. And I was a good kid, and I listened, and he was right about them being big. I mean, people ask me now, actually, they're like, how did you know to pick AI? I was like, no, I made a really unpopular choice, like many decades ago, and it paid off. So, I recommend it. But I did, I think I actually, it turns out, have an engineering brain from my dad, not from my mom. She was a poet. And so, it worked out. And then in Kansas, I majored in computer science. And as Ty said, those were different times, and I was not surrounded by other women, certainly not in my major. So there were almost no women in what was then called Comp Sci, CS really, people. But I lived in an all-women scholarship hall, and that was fun because we, in another pajama move, we used to get together and do debugging of our, in CS, you have to debug. This is what you do most of the time. You're debugging code. And so we would be debugging at our little dial-up single terminal in the basement of the building. Nobody knows what that means except for people my age. And this is what we did. And I would be surrounded by these smart women who would literally, we would wake up in the morning and say, I think I dreamt about why the compiler is not working. Let's go try it. And no one thought that was weird. And it was really great. And so then when the compiler compiled on itself, any nerds over here, you'll understand why that's a cool thing. And so actually, I also minored in art, and I thought, I really don't like the fact that when people look at my art attempts, which were kind of like the soldering of that young woman over there, and they would be like, It was very subjective. Whereas in CS, when it ran, it ran. And I really liked that. But I also really like psychology. And so I minored in psychology, and it turns out that's come back. And so that's a lot of kind of the synergy of what my lab does now. So that's my big lesson to people, is to pursue the crazy stuff you're interested in, because there's something within you telling you where you might want to go, but you can't really voice it, but it's in there. And so anyway, I like the subjectivity of human behavior, but not of art. There was no robotics at KU back at the University of Kansas where I went at the time. There was one AI class. I'm very proud of KU for having AI back in the dark ages, but it was taught at 8 a.m. So of course I didn't take it. I mean, who takes an 8 a.m. class, really? So I get into MIT grad school to the AI lab, having never taken AI. I mean, who knows what the admission criteria were back then, really. And so I come to MIT, and, massive imposter syndrome, of course. But it was really amazing to get to meet other folks who have been now lifelong friends, people like Cynthia Brazil, Holly, knowing Daniela. I mean, what a group of people. There were really cool guys there too, but we're not gonna list them at all. And of course that time really shaped my career trajectory. and also just coming to Boston was really like coming home. And I didn't know that I missed that feel. But I just remember the first time that I came to Boston and I took the T and I saw all the people and nobody was asking me where are you from. And then the mice on the tracks. I was just like, oh, this is so familiar. And I just really loved it. And today I went and I walked around town. I didn't take the T, but I walked around. I just felt such a sense of being at home again. And it's just, I don't know, I love it here. I forgot all the bad stuff. So Holly made fun of me about that. She's like, you forgot everything about grad school that wasn't good? There was nothing that wasn't good. It was all perfect, you know? But it was like drinking out of a fire hose at MIT. That's a thing that's said, and it is true. And it's true in every respect, right? Certainly in research, but just the conversations, the participating in and running the AI Lab Olympics during IAP, which was an amazing thing. I was telling Ty that one of the themes was around wisdom teeth. You'll have to ask us about that separately if you want to know. And yes, the Boston marathons with amazing friends, the Halloween labyrinth party, which you'll also have to ask us about. And just the amazing cohort of other PhD students where everybody had their own things that they were insecure about. And that was a good thing because no matter where people came from, the bar was so high and we all pushed ourselves, but we also supported ourselves. And still having those lifelong friendships so that now I can hallucinate that there was nothing hard about it and it was great and they can poke fun at me. So we bonded and it took a while. I was at MIT for 7 years, which I want to point out was average because now 7 years is not average. But it was the master's and the PhD. And Rod Brooks, who was my PhD advisor, he was a great advisor. I wish he were here today. He really should have been, but that's okay. Let's give him a hard time. So Rod did two things really well, which I've tried to emulate as an advisor. The first was he expected great things, although this second part I don't emulate. He said to me, go have a great idea. And I was like, oh my God, how will I know if I had it? I'll know. So that years later, I asked him, I was like, you said that. I didn't. Yes, you did. So then I said, did I have the great idea? He's like, oh, you must have because you graduated. So this is the kind of loving praise one can, benefit from. I'm kidding. Rod is a great friend, but I'm not kidding. That actually did happen. The other thing that Rod did, which was great, was he was completely supportive of his grad students pursuing whatever we wanted to pursue. And I insanely wanted to pursue robot teams back when people were struggling to make one robot work. We're still struggling with that, but it's hard. But I got 20 robots from Rod because he got the money. I mean, they still never all worked at the same time. But, I had tremendous opportunities because he was just willing to do crazy stuff like that. So having that empowerment to go off and try things, like being given the trust and the permission in some sense was tremendous. So I've always tried to emulate that. Because really doing hard things never becomes easy. And so we learned that we choose these hard things. And not because they will ever become easier, but because they're worth doing, precisely because they're hard. And then I graduated, and this is the last paragraph, I promise. I think, how many pages? Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it's not. No. Oh my God. So anyway, so then I graduated. I went straight to Brandeis for a couple of years. And then I went, because of two-body problems, I went to USC. And I've been at USC ever since. USC Viterbi School of Engineering, the same Viterbi that Daniela has an endowed chair from. So he's a wonderful guy. And it's been great. And I'll have to say, I wish that we were in a different climate and there were a table from USC, but it was a great place to discover and reinvent and try different things. And so trying these different areas of research was such a luxury. It was hard, but it was a luxury, and it was good to have the support of an institution, not financially per se, but just the trust that go ahead and do what you think is right to do. So, in graduate school and as an academic, that's really important. And then, then I, of course, went off and reproduced and had the first of my 3 kids. This is they're the 3 birthstones here. So I'm into mommy jewelry. There's a lot of it. I really am. So after I had my first of 3 kids, she's in grad school right now, so she can go through all the pain. She complains constantly about it. And she's not even in computing. I mean, what can I say? And so these are my best work, but this is when I was inspired to do something entirely different. That was my big pivot. And the story I always tell is that this is true. There were 2 parts to the story. One is that I saw a certain Terminator movie. I don't know which Terminator, 2nd, 3rd, 15th, whatever. And I saw certain technologies there that made me nervous, and I thought, I totally understand how that works. But the other part was that I wanted to be able to answer the question that my kid would soon ask, not just, Mommy, what do you do? But why do you do it? And the why was really important to me. So I wanted to have a good answer. And I still think, and I really firmly believe this, and I say this as a challenge to my colleagues, if you don't have an answer to that why that a small child can appreciate and respect, maybe you should think about that. And so I really wanted to be able to say, Mama makes robots that help people. But then I had to actually do that, because I was not doing that. I was, doing teams of robots and humanoids that could barely move because they were simulated and whatever, all kinds of things like that. And so that's what led into this exploration of what would actually possibly help people. And, it was hard, and I had to give up a bunch of funding sources and start this new thing. But because of amazing students and colleagues and collaborations, it happened. And I just have to tell this funny story. During COVID, when everything was on Zoom, how could we forget? Still half the things are on Zoom. And so I somehow got invited to do an interview through the BBC with a young woman in Ghana. She was, I don't know, in her early teens. And so we're talking back and forth. And then she said, and I'm quoting here, I think you want to be everyone's mom, but you can't do that. And so that is why you make robots, so they can do that for you. She said this, and I thought, oh my God. I mean, she should be a extremely high-paid therapist, because that is exactly right. It was a total perfect insight. It completely defines me. It's true. I'm just everyone's mom. I'm constantly advising my students, and others do not. I mean, my junior colleagues are like, oh, here she comes, But now with a medal. I'll be coming with a medal to advise you. But it's true. I mean, I love it. I love what being an academic allows you to do, which is, to mentor and advise everyone, whether they want it or not. But it really is about working with these young people. That is the best part. And so, when I think about the fact that here, what Ty was talking about, including everyone in robotics and really seeing the many faces in robotics, that's also, to me, the most important faces, besides the kids, of course, have been the students, because they're the ones, I can stand here and I get to wear the amazing medal. It's quite heavy. But I get the medal, but it's the students. They did the work, and they're still doing the work, and they're in the lab probably now. And the part that I'm especially impressed with is that my students, they spend a lot of time not just in the lab. They spend time in nursing homes and in homes of people who are under-resourced, and in schools, and just all kinds of places where they look for needs that they can develop systems that can help. And I'm just impressed by that, and I'm grateful, and that's why I have the best job in the world. But it's lovely to get the check as well. I'll take it. So I work in robotics, but it's the people that matter the most, as has been said by others. So just a really quick recap for my family. So my dad's engineering mind what got me here and got me this. But it was my mom's resilience. So I briefly mentioned that, but I watched my mom actually get her PhD back in old country when I was a teenager, and she had a full-time job, but she was typing on a manual typewriter a 900-page dissertation on English literature, that part. No. But she was doing that. I remember her clavicle was all inflamed, and I thought, well, I would never do that. I'm definitely not doing that. I'm not getting a PhD. So, of course, then I went off and did it, but arguably in an easier way. MIT and all, I wasn't working full-time and doing all these other things. And I bring this up because everything she went through. So my mom passed away in April. She was 91. She had an amazing life. But, she'll always be with me. And one of the things that she was always disappointed with me about was my lack of interesting clothing. And tonight, this is vintage, but there's that. I mean, I will have half of the sequins by the end of the night. They're just falling off. But my mom would be proud, and I'm wearing her earrings, which are screw-on, so they're really painful. But she is with me, and that is very important. And actually, it was early this spring, around a similar time, when I got a call from Ty. which was really meaningful and joyful because I didn't know. I thought it was an interview. He said that they needed to ask me some questions. And so I get on the call and he and Daniela say, oh, congratulations. And I was like, what? What do I have to answer questions? So it was so wonderful and joyous. And thank you, because it couldn't come at a better time. And I'm so grateful to the MassRobotics people, because you guys really make us feel like absolute stars. And I think it is like getting an Oscar, with all due respect, Ty, because I'm an LA girl. But also, like you get treated like royalty. You get to take a long time to pick your dress, and then you can talk a lot longer for your thanks. So I'll stop and just say, I just want to say a huge thank you and share my thanks and gratitude and love for everyone. Thank you so much.